Welcome back to the Bluegrass Breakdown Radio Show. We got Rob Jones on the line from 1450 AM here in Louisville. How you doing, Rob?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing good, Rob.
Good.
Just another good show. We just had Radio Ron. I don't know if you all have ever met. We just had him on the line.
He was great.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met. I used to go by Radio Rob back in the day when I first started, but Radio Ron, I'll let him have that.
I hear that. But yeah, again, we got Rob Jones here from 1450 AM. You and Johnny Renshaw are co-hosting one of the shows, right?
Yeah, 3 to 5 p.m. we got the Freak Show with Johnny Renshaw. Me and Trevor Kelsey actually helped co-host that show and produce it. And then the Afternoon Sports Buzz, I co-host that as well from 5 to 6. So we have 3 to 6 local programming, and then Dan Patrick from 9 to 12 in the morning, and then Yahoo Sports Radio the rest of the day. So we got a good thing going on. If your listeners out there want to stream it online, it's 1450thesportsbuzz.com, or you can use the TuneIn Radio app on your smartphones as well.
It's definitely some good content. I love it. I even like Sorry.
We try to be the voice of the fan. You know, there's a lot of radio stations out there that are kind of beholden to other stuff. You know, 790, basically Cards Radio, and then you have another station that they're kind of beholden to. They don't want to piss anybody off, for lack of a better term, and we're really not afraid to do that. So it's good. We're the voice of the fan. We take a lot of callers, get a lot of good guests. So y'all should check it out. All your listeners out there should check it out.
Definitely. And even the national stuff, the Yahoo Sports, is it Steve Zabin? I like that.
Yeah, he's really good. I really like Dan Patrick, and everybody's got their own, their preferences. And then if you got anybody out there that likes wrestling, Sean the Cablinasian comes on Yahoo Sports Radio from 1 to 3, and he talks wrestling, and he's real funny. He actually won the Jim Rome Smack Off like 6 years in a row, and they finally gave him his own radio show. So we got a lot of good programming around. We also play games of the week, high school, college, and pro football right now. And we're working on getting some college basketball as well, some national games. So just keep tuning in, and we'll have some new stuff as the weeks go on.
That's good stuff over there. Rob, you're a big time Louisville fan, right?
Yeah, I grew up a diehard UofL fan. I try to be as unbiased as possible, but I always have that my diehard UofL fanness, I guess you'd say, in the back of my little place in my heart for it.
What do you think about the games this weekend? I know they open the season tomorrow. What are you looking forward to in particular about the first couple games this weekend?
I'm just looking to see how they integrate all the new guys. How Shane Bohannon plays with the team that's coming back, and also how these guys come back from injury. You got Peyton Siva was out with the concussion against Bellarmine. You could see how different the team is without him. Elijah Justice, God bless him, but he's no Peyton Siva, and the team just looked completely different. The pace up and down the floor was different. The way the offense ran was different. And Kyle Kirk, I think how lost he looked against Bellarmine was a product of Peyton Siva really not being in the game and being able to penetrate and draw the double team to get Kirk open for those shots, because he's one of those guys that you thought he would be able to step up, Kyle Kirk, that is, step up and take kind of a leadership role on this team when Siva was out. But as was evident last week against Bellarmine, he looked kind of lost without Siva out there. So I'm glad to see Peyton Siva's back. Like to see Mike Mara play a little better than he has the last couple of years. Maybe take that next step. But just kind of seeing how Shane Bohannon interacts with the new team in games that actually matter.
Yeah, I will agree with your Kirk statements. Yeah, he did kind of look a little lost without Siva out there, but granted, Siva will be running the offense, and he is a very well-rounded point guard. So I think once he is back and fully healthy, Kirk will be doing his typical thing out on the wing, hitting the three-pointers for you guys.
Peyton Siva is the most important player on the team. A lot of people will debate that back and forth, but Peyton Siva, it was evident in the game last week against Bellarmine. I keep going back to that. If the Cards lose Peyton Siva, that they're a totally different team. They could lose Shane Bohannon, they could lose Gorky Jang, they could lose Kyle Couric to whether it's injury or foul trouble. But you lose Peyton Siva, you're in trouble if you're Louisville.
Yeah, totally. I was also, you said about Jang, you could kind of miss him. If you do miss Siva, is Russ Smith going to be the point guard that you all look forward to, take over? Because I did in those scrimmages, he did look like he could, help you guys out. He looked like he knew the offense. He was scoring at will, and I just haven't seen Russ play much.
He's got to be, I guess, right, Rob?
Yeah, I guess I kind of if you want to run kind of a conservative offense, you go with Elijah Justice. If you want to run up and down the court and shoot the ball a lot and kind of play that fast-paced Pitino style of basketball that he's developed over the last couple of years, you go with Russ Smith and Chris Smith in the backcourt, and they share ball handling duties is what I would think they would do. Because Russ Smith, he's great when it comes to scoring the ball. He's a machine gun out there. He never met a shot he didn't like. But I want to see how he handles pressure. And that was a big problem with Siva last year, especially in the Kentucky game. You pressure him up at past half court, and he had a little bit of trouble handling the ball. I think Russ Smith might be the same kind of way. He might have trouble, when it's in a half court setting. Yeah, he's great. He can put up shots and shoot at a high percentage, and he's fun to watch. But when you start getting into the Big East play and you start playing teams like Vandy and Memphis that put a lot of pressure on your guards, that'll be interesting to see how Russ Smith handles that.
Definitely. He does seem to be one of the few guys on the team that really probably can create his own shot. But, is that really what you want out of your point guard?
Right. The point guard's job is not to create his own shot. The point guard's job is to create shots for other people. And that's something that I haven't seen Russ Smith do in his career at Louisville so far, is create shots for other people. He can create his own shot, like you said, but that's not really the job of the point guard, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen him penetrate and then hit an open guy for a three like Siva does, or a lot of the other guys on the team seem to like to do. He doesn't have that mentality, and Pitino seems to have almost embraced that. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Russ Smith going into the beginning of the regular season. One of the things
I completely agree with you.
Good deal. One of the things we were talking about earlier was I was, a little bit excited. I won't say it was the most excited I've ever been about Terry Rozier. I think he looks like a good prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler here and Matt seem to think that three-star players are worthless. You might as well not have them. How do you feel about that?
You're putting words in our mouth there.
Yeah,
well, you got Tyler and Matt over there. They bleed the blue. They're used to getting these top 10 draft picks every year in their recruiting classes, and that's all fine and well. I'm as a UofL guy, I'm kind of jealous of it. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't want your Marcus Teagues or your Brandon Knights or your John Walls coming in every year, but Terry Rozier fits the mold of Pitino basketball. He had offers from Illinois, Cincinnati, West Virginia, teams that aren't too shabby. Teams that make it deep into the tournament on a regular basis, or at least West Virginia has lately. And so he beat those teams out for him. So obviously he has a little bit of talent. You got Mick Cronin, Bobby Huggins, Bruce Weber recruiting him, so obviously he has a little bit of talent. He's not going to knock your socks off and be a one and done, but if he can develop over 2 or 3 years and become the starting point guard on the team, a guy that wants to come to Louisville and not a guy that you have to force to come to Louisville. He wanted to come to Louisville. It wasn't one of those things where you were competing with a bunch of people over him. He wanted to come to Louisville. He was waiting on an offer from Louisville. So those are the type of guys, I call it the Larry O'Bannon effect, where you got guys that want to actually come to the school and have a sense of pride about getting the opportunity to play under Rick Pitino and getting the opportunity to play for Louisville. Then those guys could flourish. It might take a couple years, but and unless Siva has a breakout, outstanding year, he's going to be around next year. And then you also have Kevin Ware, who's looking like he might become eligible around the middle of next month. So you got some time to develop this guy and turn him into to a good player. He had a breakout camp at LeBron James Skills Academy over the summer, and he's just one of these guys you might have found a diamond in the rough. You look at it, you can't always look at the 3 stars and what these national recruiting services say about guys, because look at Butler the last 2 years. They made the national title game the last 2 years with a bunch of guys that nobody wanted. So, like Shelvin Mack, for example, he probably wanted to go to UofL UK. Butler gave him the opportunity to shine. He takes him to 2 straight final games. So I wouldn't look too much into the 3-star thing. Like I said, though, John Wall, Brandon Knight, those kind of guys, those 5-star, top 10 picks, you'd love to have them, but Terry Rozier's not that bad.
Definitely. With the basketball season coming up, we are going to have to wrap things up here briefly, but with the basketball season come up, I got to see last night on the internet a little, I think WHAS made a little history kind of the UK UofL rivalry game. Did anybody get a chance to see that?
Yeah, I caught some of it. It
Rob?
was actually a very good segment.
Did you see that, Rob?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I've been told to watch it, but I haven't seen it. I've lived it. I've lived in Louisville, my whole life, so I know the ins and outs of it. But from what I've heard, Adam Lefkoe and the boys over at WHS 11 did a really good job with it, and I'm excited to watch it.
Definitely.
Well, Rob, we hate to wrap it up. We kind of went a little long with our last guest, but we'll definitely have to have you back on. Appreciate you coming on tonight.
Oh, no problem, guys. Call me anytime.
All right, man. This is Rob Jones. You have a good night.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Right. Thank you.